Hey YouTube, what up? This is JMod Nerf. My first video I'm hitting you guys up with today. And basically I'm going to show you guys how to mod the Busby Toys Mech Tommy 20. Pretty much what I'm about is modding all sorts of different Nerf guns. I've got all different, not just Nerf guns, but I've got all sorts of dart guns that I've modded in the past and ones that I'm going to mod in the future. So I'm going to try to show you as many different videos on as many different guns as I can. But today we're going to start off with this one. It's not too complicated, even though it looks kind of complicated. But basically what you want to do is start off, you've got 4 screws here. You'll want to take those out first. And then once you've taken out those screws, pull this whole thing apart. Taking this whole stock off of here. So all these pieces are going to come out. This black piece here, you'll have to take out these screws first. Although I've taken them out already, so I can just pull this off. But those will come off. Move this out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the whole stock off, so when I'm done there won't be a stock here. So I'm going to cut this off here. Make sure you don't have batteries in here before you cut it. It's not the best idea. Might not be a fun experience. You might get shocked or something. So just be careful of that. And next, once you've taken the stock apart, just continue to take all these screws out of here. There are many screws all over the gun. Take all of them out. This one with the little switch doesn't necessarily need to come out now. Although if you go to paint the gun, you might want to take it out later, which is what I'll do. Anyways, the gun comes to 2 pieces. You end up with the electrical side and the mechanical side. This barrel here, I hate this thing. It's really ugly and stupid, so I'm going to get rid of that. I won't need that. But anyways, yeah, just throw that out. You won't need it because it doesn't help your gun at all, and it looks ugly. So, yeah, basically you've got the mechanical side. With the mechanical side, what you want to do is nothing, unless you don't like the way the trigger looks. You might want to take and cut this off, like right here, cut this here and here, so that way the trigger's smaller, so it's not quite a big trigger. But you really don't want to mess with this. The way it works, you pull the trigger, and you pull it back. As you pull it back, it rotates the turret, and then it pushes this black lever here. This pushes forward and pushes the dart up, so that way it fires the dart. So you probably don't want to mess with this unless you have a lot of experience with this kind of stuff and you know what you're doing. Of course, then you wouldn't need to be watching the video. But I'd recommend you leave that alone. It's just simpler this way. The mechanism itself works pretty well. The only thing I can think is put a little bit of grease or something on here, oil maybe, so it's smoother and it doesn't make as much noise when you're firing it. Of course, the motor's running, so I mean it's really not that big a deal, noise-wise. So I'll set this out of the way for a moment. Next, you have the electrical side. This is the part that I'm going to be modding, at least for the most part. Since I'm cutting off the stock, this whole battery pack's coming off. I'm going to take and cut these wires here. When these 2 wires come off, then I can take and hacksaw this off. I'll do the same on the other side. I'll put the gun back together and cut it off with a hacksaw. The switch I'm going to leave here. The way the switch works, basically, it just kind of slides back and completes the circuit. Nothing special about that, but it can be helpful to have in there. I'd recommend you keep it on unless you have other ways of doing this. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the 3 AA batteries that normally would sit in here to taking where this red line is. I'm going to take and cut off this section right here with a Dremel tool. That's all going to come out, and I will be able to fit one of these bad boys, 9-volt battery, right in here. It'll slide in, and it will connect with this on the inside. I pulled this off an old walkie-talkie. You can buy these at like Radio Shack too, but if you've got extra walkie-talkies sitting around that don't work, pull it off there. It's so much cheaper. Now what I'll do is I'll cut this out, and then I will take this whole setup, I'll plug this together, I'll stick it through, and I'll glue this in place with super glue. If you wanted to use a hot glue, you could do that too, although I've got a lot of super glue right now, so I'm going to use that. And that's just going to get glued in here. It'll sit somewhere around here. Not exactly sure where because I haven't cut that hole yet, but once I'm done with that, this piece will be in. Then I'll take and just rewire everything, hide the wires up around here so that way they don't get tangled in the turret system. And then that's pretty much all I'm doing with the gun. I will be adding some extra stuff to it. The gun itself, when it is done, I'm going to take and I'm going to put a barrel extension on the front because I think it'll look a little bit cooler with this. I'm going to put this piece of tactical rail. This actually came with the gun, but I'm going to spray paint it a different color. I'm going to set it up so it fits this flashlight holder so I can put a flashlight on top of the gun. That way I actually have a reason to have this there, otherwise it looks kind of dumb. So this will go together. I'll have to do some sanding and whatnot on this to make it fit in here correctly, but not worried about that right now. So I guess we'll go ahead and start with this. I'm going to take it. Right now I'm going to cut these wires off. Just make sure there's no batteries, because with the wires, if you're not careful, you can shock yourself with the pliers. So just cut this off, cut this off. This resistor piece here, I'm honestly not sure if I should have this or not. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'll just take it off and leave it off. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I'm pretty sure the motor should run fine just off a 9-volt battery, so I'll set that to the side. Now what I'm going to do, got these wires cut, I'll tuck them out of the way, and I'll cut the stock. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video now, so that way, don't pause it yet, but I'll pause the video, that way I don't have to go into like a time lapse or anything, because I don't think I can do that with my computer. But I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, cut the stock off, and then I'll set the video up again, and then when I'm done, the stock will be cut off, and I'll show you the next part with the Dremel tool. I can actually show you that while I'm doing it, but the stock is going to be harder to cut off while watching the video. So go ahead and pause the video.